So that was a lie.
I'm sorry. Hello everybody, Gabe the Space Cow here, and today we're going to be going over Stereotypes and Pillar Chase. I know, very exciting. But today we're going to be starting off with MX, probably one of the most popular characters in the game itself, so it feels fitting to start here. Plus there's a lot of different stereotypes and he has a lot of different skins, so let's just go ahead and get started. But before we get started, I just want to say that these are only stereotypes and they don't apply to everyone. They're more of just a common thing or just something that people think about it. So if you see your favorite, skin on here and it has a negative stereotype, it doesn't mean it applies to everyone. It's just a stereotype. That's all it is. Now, most people would think I would immediately just say they're not going to be good at the game because they have a default skin. That's not necessarily true. In order to get to this point, they actually have to try and collect coins and whatnot, so they know how to at least somewhat play the game. So now it's 100% up to just them to try and figure out how the character works itself. But most of the time, these guys have no idea what they're doing, their tracking is horrible, and you're going to find them running into a wall most of the time. These players could also just really like Mario and enjoy the design and just want to play as him. But like I said, most of the time these guys aren't that good, their tracking's horrible, but they can at least come out with at least half the team dead. You know, I kind of just feel bad for these guys. It's not because they're bad at the game or anything, it's because they've been player 2 their entire life, to the point where even they have to pick the skin of player 2 when they're playing the game. These are the little brothers and the player 2s of their childhood, and they can't outlive that, unfortunately. Or they just really like Luigi. You take your pick. These are the guys that pushed for Waluigi in Smash Bros but never got what they wanted, so at least they can play them in Pillar Chase too. But it's not the same, man. These guys aren't that bad, kind of the same as the victim, honestly. They're good enough on the character now to the point where they're buying skins, which means that these guys are at least somewhat competent. Well, I guess this is the closest we're getting to Wario. These guys definitely loved the Five Nights at Wario's games or mained them in Smash Bros, which honestly, kinda respectable. I've seen that a lot of these guys though just start charging at you for absolutely no reason. They could be facing in the complete wrong direction and still try and charge for you, and when they miss, they somehow act surprised as if it wasn't going to happen already. I honestly don't think I've ever seen anyone wear this skin, and I'm not even joking. I just don't think that people know or care to know what it is. I mean, I don't know. It's just, tell me if you've ever seen someone wear this, but I personally haven't. Now there are two types of people who wear this skin. A is the obvious one, Sonic mains who don't want to main Sonic. These guys definitely love Sonic, but just don't want to play him in the game, so they have to settle for playing Mario in a blue outfit. The second type of people are the people who love playing Blue Toad in the new Super Mario Bros. Games. And honestly, that's me. I love Blue Toad. This is the first skin that actually shows any kind of skill. Now that they've reached level 10, you can actually know that they're somewhat competent on the character, and they can somewhat do well. Granted, these guys are still level 10, which doesn't mean that they're the best in the world, but they definitely aren't the worst. Their tracking still needs a lot of work, but their other skills like their jump and their charge are definitely getting better. Take everything I just said and just make it slightly better. These guys now officially know their jump, they know their run, and they're a lot better at tracking. Granted, tracking is still one of the biggest problems on these, because tracking as MX is actually one of the hardest things, believe it or not. Granted, these guys still are honing their skills and are getting a lot better at the game as they play. Every match they can somewhat get almost every single person, probably except for the last guy, but that's fine because these guys are still only improving. And being at level 25, they still have a lot of room to grow. Once again, there are two different types of people who wear the skin. The first one are people who want to pretend like they actually have the gold skin, or just to scare the crap out of people into thinking that they have it. But if you actually go look, this isn't the actual gold skin. Granted though, if you saw this, you probably would be somewhat scared. The second kind of person simply just prefers the skin over the golden skin, and since it somewhat looks gold, people will prefer to wear this skin over the other one. Now this is where you actually have to start looking out, because these guys are really good. While they may not be the very top rank, they still are very good. Their tracking is extremely good, which means that even if they see you from across the map after they get someone, they will be on your butt immediately. They have really good prediction of where you're going to go during their jump, so they can time it out to hit you on the head perfectly. And their dashes are very robotic, and it seems like they always know exactly where you're going to go and aim for that exact spot. Every time you see one of these guys, you should be absolutely terrified, or at least you should keep your guard up a lot. Yeah, no, these are the little brothers that absolutely hate everyone. These guys will go on massive rampages, killing most of the lobby, honestly, but they're still not the best. They definitely are really good though, and will most likely get everyone but one person, and if they do get everyone, then just don't be that surprised. These guys don't exactly play with their head, they play angrily, and if you even somewhat do something to make them mad, they're probably going to target you for the rest of the game and either taunt on you or just, they'll be mad. These guys are trying way too hard to be scary. These guys are definitely very edgy, and they just want to come off as, ooh, I'm scary. But to any experienced players, they can see right through these guys and understand that they just don't have any of the cooler skins yet for MX. I think these guys would be a little bit more scary if they just didn't take themselves so seriously, because a lot of these guys that I've seen talk the most amount of crap and just think that they're all that. Your room is lit up like a rainbow. You have a rainbow colored PC that flashes lights all the time. You have lights surrounding your room that are also constantly flashing rainbow. I will say though, this skin is actually very cool, so you have justification for it. I'm just saying that most of your room is probably lit up a lot, just like this character. This guy is not taking the game seriously. I mean, dressing up as a skin named Gnorpy has got to be one of the most interesting things I've seen in a while. These guys are pretty competent on MX though, because they're willing to actually put down Robux to get a skin, which means that they at least know what they're doing. This guy definitely likes creepypastas and SCPs and likes to express that with his skins. But overall, it's a pretty cool skin in my opinion. But like I said, these guys are pretty competent in what they do, but they're also just scary as hell, honestly. You know, a lot of people don't expect much out of these guys until they start wiping the entire lobby without even trying. If you see one of these guys in your game though, I'd start getting ready for an absolutely rough and brutal round. I'm sorry to say, my friend, but you're There's absolutely nothing you can do against these guys. These guys are so good at the character. Their tracking is unbelievable. Their jumping is perfect. Their sprints are insane, and they know exactly what they're doing the entire time. If you match up with one of these guys, you should just leave the server. Don't even try against them. You're not going to win, no matter what you try to do. These guys are perfect at their role, and they're going to make sure you know it. But in all seriousness, these guys are genuinely terrifying. I mean, getting level 100 on any character is insane. Doing it on MX of all characters, pretty cool. You honestly should already know where this is going. I mean, it's kind of just obvious. This skin is actually really cool, and since it was technically free since you could unlock it during the Halloween event, a lot of people wear it. But that also means that it's subject to a lot of different stereotypes, one of the biggest ones being that these guys may look cool, but they aren't as good as they look. Which, like, yeah, that's fair, I guess. But don't get it twisted, good players also use this skin as well, because they simply just enjoy the character Jason and like the way that he looks. Don't be surprised if these guys fall very far on either end of the spectrum, either being extremely good or extremely bad. Honestly, I haven't seen many people wear this skin, probably just because it's extremely bulky and that most people don't really want it. I don't know, personally I do think it's a pretty cool skin, but I don't exactly main MX and I'm not in the market for MX skins. But if I were to say something, it'd probably be that the skin's pretty bulky, and if they're going to spend that much money on a skin, they're probably at least somewhat competent on MX. These guys are a really big fan of the very, very old Mario movie. I mean, good for them, I guess. It's not that popular. And neither's the skin, honestly. Personally, I can't recount the last time I actually went up against this, but it's something. I don't know, it's starting to get really hard with some of these ones that just, you don't really see that often and that no one picks. These guys are 100% abusing the fact that this is one of the darkest skins in the game and that they can barely ever be seen. But that also kind of means that they know what they're doing, so I'd be looking out for them. Honestly though, this is a really cool skin and honestly reminds a lot of people of the Undertaker, which is kind of cool. But to the cheap people who are just sitting in the dark waiting for someone to walk by, f*** you. Even though this technically can be unlocked with coins and it doesn't mean that the person's that good, majority of the time, I've found that these guys are really good at the game and are actually kind of hard to play against. It's also a lot of fun to play against these guys as well because they always seem to know what they're doing and it doesn't make for the game to be extremely boring, but they're not exactly to the diamond tier level, which means you don't have to be sweating off really badly. Honestly, the best way to sum it up is this clip right here.
That motherfucker got a lot more radiation than the other ones, Jackson.
Did they find him at Chernobyl or something?
Motherfucker caused Chernobyl, Jackson. He walked on site.
These guys are very similar, so I'm just going to lump them together. Both Virtual and the yellow one, they are both terrifying to go against when you're first starting the game, but as you play more, I think these guys become less scary just because you're a little bit more accustomed to MX. Granted, these guys think that they're very good and that everyone needs to bow to their exact whim, but that's not always true, and most of the time you can probably outrun these guys, but it honestly just depends on how good you are. Well, that covers all of them. Honestly, this video was a lot of fun making, and just trying to research and think about different things for each person, even when you don't see them a lot, was a little bit challenging, but overall it was a really fun project. And if you guys seem to like it, then I can make more in the future, and I think that'll be fun. But if you disagree with anything on this list, please tell me down in the comments, or tell me your own stereotypes for these types of people, or recommend who I should do next time. Anyways though, I'm Gabe the Space Cow, and I'll see you all next time.